companies are facing right now, I want to first go to the change of the chemical landscape as has happened over the last 25 years. If you go back to, say, around 2000 and look at statistics, 50% of the capacity was in Europe and North America, about 25% each, maybe 10% in China, and then the rest of the capacity in the rest of the world. If you look today, Europe and US have about 25% together, of which the US has more than half of it, and more than 50% of the capacity, the chemical capacity, is now in China. That has led to a complete different landscape the chemical industry is operating in and the competitive landscape they have to deal with. What it means for especially companies in Europe, in the US, is how to handle this new landscape, this competition overseas. And I also want to add India to it, that is, strongly coming up with very competitive and new assets in the market. The European and chemical industries have to look at their assets, at their footprint, and say, are they still competitive? Do we need to upgrade them or potentially, shut them down? And how do we take advantage of our regional presence? Where do we make a competitive advantage over our competition out of, China, India, and so on? They really have to look at both from a marketing and an operational strategy, how to benefit from their local presence. They also have to use basically the most modern technology to upgrade their assets, take big advantage of the development in what's now called AI, but using the systems that they have, the data historians, the ERP systems, use them to maximum advantage to optimize their assets, optimize how they go to market, optimize, how they use their overall supply chain. So it is really about how to differentiate yourself against the competition overseas, to make use of your local advantages. That's how the European and North American industry can compete in today's environment. To talk about the operational challenges that the chemical industry is facing right now, I first want to go to the change in the competitive landscape that's happened over the last 25 years. If you go back 25 years, where most of the Western chemical industries had what was called the BRIC strategy, and highly expanded in India, China, Brazil, and Russia at the time was the focus as well. At that point in time, the U.S. and European chemical industry were about 50% of the total global capacity, whereas China was maybe 10%, and the rest of the world, the 40% that's left over. Today, that has completely changed. U.S. and Europe are about 25%, where actually the U.S. takes the largest share of that 25%. And China by itself is 50% of the global capacity. And then India is an upcoming region or an upcoming country with chemical capacity opening up more and more. So the landscape for the European and US chemical industry has highly changed, where they now have to compete with, especially these Chinese and Indian imports. And for that, they have to really look at their footprint, if it can be competitive, if it's outdated, to either upgrade it or shut it down. They have to look at their operational efficiency and use the most modern technology to basically be as efficient as possible, have the right operational processes in place to be as competitive as they can. But on top of that, they also have to really look at the strategy, their product portfolio, where they can be really competitive, where they can take advantage of their local presence, where they can be a more robust supplier in the form of supply security, and give that guarantee to their customers, which will then give them the competitive advantage. So it is both from a go-to-market as well as from an operational perspective. They have to maximize their benefits of being local here, have the operations as efficient as possible by improving their operational procedures, as well as using the technology that they already have, like the data historians, the ERP systems, maximize the use of that to basically be more competitive in the market that they operate.